And Okie Country 101.7 Cliff, the Fun Country Morning Show. It's 8:19 right now. More continuous country coming up. And Lauren Rich joins us this morning here as we're ready to talk about things going on upstairs. And boy, there's not much going on in mine upstairs, if you know what I mean. How are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm not getting you. Hold on just a second here. We've had power issues downtown, so I think that it's turned your mic off. Let me see if that works. Say hi.
How about now?
No, still don't have it.
Still nothing?
No, hold on. Now try it.
Maybe there isn't any.
Yay,
oh,
there you
yeah.
go.
There
Boy,
is
I'm sorry
something
about
upstairs.
Yeah, there is. Barely. I can get this thing going. Sorry about that.
Good.
I didn't look and see what my source was on my board here, and it had redirected to something completely different. So here you are this morning. Now we're here.
Now we're here.
So cooler weather has moved in, but man, that hot weather is going to be back later in the week. And I know that's kind of on your topic today, but
it has.
It kind of grates.
Heat.
It grates on me. The older I get, the really hot weather, it's just, I don't know. There's something mental about dealing with it day in and day out. And I know that has a special meaning for people that have served in desert operational theaters in conflict.
We are almost to August, and if I remember right, statistically, August is the worst in Oklahoma. Although I think it all feels equally bad,
Just depends,
depending on the day. But when you're talking 100-degree temperatures and then heat indexes, that can really wear on people, and irritability can increase. Short-tempered, those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
For my people who have deployed to really hot places like Iraq and Afghanistan, some of them who are mostly native Okies come back and say, I cannot stand the heat anymore. I am irritable, I am short-tempered, I am a jerk to be around. Those are gentle words. Their self-descriptions are much more graphic, but I'm not pleasant to be around. I don't like who I am in the summertime. They really have to work a little bit harder at keeping those things in check. And so you have to think about the length of time that people are deployed, and even brief deployments. I have some veterans who did a tour around the Horn of Africa into Djibouti, and Djibouti can be something like 128, 130 degrees, right?
Crazy.
But the humidity will be at 90%. So it's not like it's just a dry heat of Southern California or Arizona. It is crazy hot with crazy humidity. And so then you come back and you look at your symptoms, and it's no wonder why things exacerbate during that time period.
Right. Well, it's proven that when people are, like, they keep prisons, for example, cooler because they won't be as agitated. So what is it mentally that agitates us when it gets hot? And I know that's even amplified with people that have served places like Djibouti. I bet you can't wait to get out of there.
Oh, and I quote, so hot it will melt your boots.
Crazy.
Yes, crazy hot. Part of it is that when we cannot control our body, our belief system is that everything is out of control, and then we really start to scramble. Even if it's not accurate, our perception is that we're not in control of things. Mm-hmm. And boy, of all things we are not in control of, it is definitely the weather. Right. So I think that's what it has a lot to do with is our belief system. People who don't sleep well in the summertime because it is so hot, maybe their air conditioning isn't the best, or things like that. You always sleep better when it's cool and dark, like we've talked about.
Yeah, cover up and hide under the blankets.
Yes, go hibernate for 6 or 7 hours, but really thinking about your time period, because other people may have worsening symptoms in the winter. That's not abnormal either, because it's so dark and cold and wet and rainy most of the time. But for a lot of them it is in the summer. And so really, I would say just start by keeping track of the months, and where are you on that scale? Are you good in April, bad in July? Are you good in July, bad in November? And just see what that pattern looks like for you.
Yeah, that's kind of hard. But I guess, is there any correlation, with the veterans that the heat kind of stimulates some memory, maybe, or
I definitely think
experience in their emotional system in their body and their mental status?
Yes, and we have a separation of environmental triggers, things like heat, and then we have actual anniversary reminders. And so if you're in an MRAP on July 4th and it explodes and a couple people die, then we've got a set of triggers, which includes summertime, the time period itself, the date, 4th of July, anniversary month. With some people it's the entire month, but then heat is also involved in that. And so when you take all of those factors together, absolutely, it can be a direct correlation to whatever people have sustained. And the same would be true if you got in a car accident on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. As soon as it starts approaching, you're
Yes,
going to be...
yes. Time period,
So,
anniversary date, temperature, holiday, those kinds of things.
so heat in its own right can do a lot to you physically.
Drive you
Dehydrating you. I mean, it really plays a role in
Yes.
the body's demise over time
Yes.
without getting out of the sun, without hydrating properly, without doing a whole lot of stuff. But
And
there's a whole mental aspect here that we're kind
that's
of
the
focusing
other
on.
thing too, though, is really and that's a great follow-up question. That's the other thing too, is the physical aspect of heat. If you are one who has had a couple of heat exhaustion episodes, not necessarily for a formal diagnostic heat stroke, but heat exhaustion to where you have to take a break and you're lightheaded and maybe there's some vomiting involved and those kinds of things, you're going to be more susceptible to that exacerbation in the summertime heat. And I've had guys tell me, I've already had a couple heat strokes.
Right.
And I would say, well, how would you manage that? Well, I'd go behind the bush, I'd throw up, and then I'd go back to it.
Wow.
And so naturally, your body is not going to be able to tolerate as much when it comes back to Oklahoma summers.
Crazy. And it's kind of tough how our physical world, I mean, it's hard to believe
Yes.
how much it affects our mental state.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
And temperatures
environment.
alone, humidity alone, dew point alone, all of those kinds of things have an impact.
So how do you beat it? I mean, obviously you want to keep cool, you want to stay
Keep
hydrated,
cool,
you want
stay
to
hydrated,
keep your mind busy maybe.
take
doing
good
other
care
things.
of yourself. I would really say just focus on the awareness piece before it gets out of control, before you are already short-tempered or irritable with your loved one or child. You have to check yourself and see what's going on with your body. If you're obviously hot, if you're tense, if you feel that irritability in certain places, just notice that before it gets any worse and go take a break. Give yourself a mental 90-second breakaway, a 5-minute breakaway, whatever. Go to Sonic, get a Coke, I don't care, pick one. But find something to curb that before it gets any worse. Really is the key.
Right.
We want to be preventative about
And we know
this.
when the heat's starting to make us agitated.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you already know.
Yeah, we already know. And,
Before
and
you're
we're-
interacting with people, you can
We're
tell.
looking at 100-degree days for the next
Yeah.
10 days,
Well,
plus humidity, so the heat index will be like 112.
We've got a lot of them coming out. Now today, a little reprieve actually. The forecast now only saying about 91. They've kind of lowered it.
Cool front.
Near 100 tomorrow though, 96 Wednesday, 97 Thursday, 98 Friday, and then it goes on, and we're not even into August yet. So,
No, not even
and those
into
first
August.
week of September, can be just as hot. So
Yes.
we've got maybe another 6 weeks of just the brutally hot part of summer coming up.
Yes.
The dog days of summer are on the way.
Of summer, that's
So
right.
knowing that it's going to make us agitated, we can kind of put things in place now to go, hey.
Be preventative.
And it's bad on relationships.
It is.
When
Yeah,
you're
it
being
is.
agitated, when you're biting somebody's head off,
And
when you're
especially since
snapping.
people have been so together, quote unquote, for so long.
Mhm.
Normally summer months are just May to August, and it's not that big of a deal. But now we're talking March to August, and so people their patience has already worn thin.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're probably figuring out, I don't think I said it this episode, but Lauren is a licensed therapist here in Muskogee, and she deals with this kind of stuff all the time at Rich Consulting. So tell folks how they can get a hold of you, and you do way more than just this.
yes.
But if you're having issues in your life, then reach out to Lauren and talk to her, and maybe she'll be able to help you and schedule an appointment with you. It's just that easy. You're very approachable. You're very nice. That's one thing I like about you.
Got 'em fooled.
But you're also very direct, and I think that's probably you're not going to sugarcoat a lot of stuff for people. You really want to help them, and sometimes to heal, you got to yank the scab
That's right.
off, and
That's right.
I hate to put it that way, and you're willing to do that.
Cliff, I love you so much. I'd rip the Band-Aid right off for you any day.
It sounds
Absolutely.
terrible, but
Absolutely.
there's a lot of truth to it. But yet at the same time, she'll
It works.
help you work through the things you've got going on. But some great tips. So again, let's reiterate the tips of dealing with the anxiousness, the anxiety.
Preventative care.
Preventative.
Preventative care. Take very good care of yourself. Be aware of it before it shows up.
Yep. And if you're biting people's heads off, it's maybe the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, and it doesn't take another trigger on top of that, though. That's where it really becomes a problem, because then people can really
Mm-hmm. Yes.
kind of lose it for a minute or create real issues in relationships and jobs and all kinds of other stuff. So how can someone reach you?
912-2266.
912-2266. Such an easy number. Of course, area code 918. It's Lauren Rich, my guest this morning. It's 8:29. Thanks for being here. He hasn't even called me crazy one time this whole time we've been together.
Not yet. This whole time. Well, saving that card.
Yeah.
Saving that card.
Well, it'll probably be issued soon. It's not 8:29 with Cliff and the Fun Country Morning Show.